Alright guys, today we're going to be tinting my headlights, or my taillights on my LEXUS. So of course we're using ViVid Air-Tint, which I actually have used before. And it's actually, you don't have to use any liquid solution. It just basically just sticks like a sticker, but you can also apply heat to it to stretch it out and do all kind of other stuff, get rid of wrinkles. Alrighty, so I already set up my knifeless tape because my knifeless tape is going to, so I want the taillights blacked out, but I want the white to still show up. So this will be pretty easy to do. So I probably only need, I'd say, probably about that much. So I can go ahead and cut that. Alright, so we got the knifeless tape. I'm actually probably going to have to use a longer. Let's just set this up where it's supposed to be. So it kind of does like a swooping kind of motion here. So I'm going to try to get it as close to the white as I can. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it perfect because the tape is translucent, but it's not really translucent enough. So kind of use this to tuck it in there a little bit. Alright, so that should be good enough, and then we can go ahead and start doing what we got to do. I'm only going to show one because I'm only going to show one side at a time because that makes sense. Alright, so just repeat the same process for the other side. As you can see, the knifeless tape is probably essential as far as trying to cut vinyl. So the good thing about the inside taillights is that you don't really have to worry about any of this underneath because you're cutting it out. So you can kind of just lay this down and then just cut it and then work up after. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clean this up, trim it up, and then come back. Alright, so you can see it's all set now for the most part. I mean, I'm not an expert, so, and it's my car, so, you know, it might not be perfect, but it looks good enough, you know. So now we're going to do the outer taillights, which is going to be a little more difficult because of the curve, but that's when you just apply the heat gun. And so I'm going to cut out the piece for the outside taillights, and hopefully we can get this going. Alrighty, so I got a better angle here. So now I trimmed it up. We're gonna lay this part flat first and get that smoothed out. There's a lot of excess. A lot of excess. Trim off. It's really hard. It's called a Smitty. So you don't do too much, obviously, because you have to be able to tuck in the edges. That looks good. So throw the Smitty away. I can kind of just work on this and get these edges as best as we can for now. Then worry about it later. You can always just do it when it's all said and done. Just put a little heat on it and it'll do what you gotta do. So, of course, the problem is, is that a little too much material, so it ends up sticking. But try to get that in there. So this stuff is really sticky, but it's also easy to work with too. It doesn't stick to the point where you can't lift it up if you need to and adjust it. So when I'm done doing this, I'll come back and take a look. Alright, so I got this part laid flat pretty much. Now we're going to work on stretching it to this corner, and you're going to need to use some heat for that. So you just heat up the section you want to stretch. Don't heat up the whole piece, only heat up the middle, the part that you're trying to stretch. So if I'm trying to stretch, alright, so I'm going to heat up this area right here so that it stretches in the middle. You don't want to stretch it at the edges, because then it starts to shrink at the edges, and you don't want that. You want edges at the end. So we're going to do that next. So you always lift it up a little bit first, and then proceed to do what you gotta do. So just lift it up right here. Right. So we can start to heat this up a little in the middle. Heat that up. Stretch it like that. Hit these edges really quick. Good. Alright guys, so here you have it.